Spring 2019. The season is here. We are gonna get out here today with the tractor. Hopefully spread out all this mulch, get rid of these tires, just do a little general cleanup. Got my buddy Melvin, my farming buddy, ranching buddy Melvin and Billy out here. And we're gonna get things done before the spring gets here so we can get some trees planted and some seeds in the ground. The mulch is on. This stuff seems to have started decaying pretty well. It should be good for planting in here in a couple weeks. Halfway to compost already. Fungus growing in it. Should work beautifully. We're just going to spread it out real thick all along here. This has been a prime example of why you should not do meth. End up with a whole bunch of trash that you thought was treasure. Well, here's my final pile of broken dreams and misguided intentions. Gonna cost me about $250 to get rid of all these tires, but they're all gone now. Alright, one hard day of work. So far we've cleaned up all the tires, got the mulch tentatively spread out. I've still got to go through and kick it around a little bit, but for the most part I think we did pretty well. This eyesore of a tire wall is gone. Won't be doing that anymore. Live and learn though. Got the mulch spread out through here. Now I'll just go through and spread it a little bit more by hand, and it's now time to begin spreading seed balls. So I'll be throwing seed balls out on all this, and hopefully it'll get established this first year, but it might have to break down another year before we can grow in it. Got my mulch pits over here. These suckers, obviously I'll have to go through here and clean this out just a little bit more before spring. But these beds are ready for fruit trees, which should be arriving in the mail pretty soon. If you just dig down just barely into these, you're up in some pretty rich stuff. So this ought to be great for fruit trees. And it looks like I might not have lost any bamboos last year. They might have all survived, because these three up here that I was kind of questionable about. There's one. There's two. There's three. They all made it. So this will make for a nice privacy screen right here at the front. Everything's working out, and just like I say, gonna prepare a whole bunch of seed balls here in the next couple weeks, and then we'll start throwing them out and making a little bit more progress on the tiny house. And my goal is by the end of the year to be able to stay out here in the tiny house, so we can start spending our weekends out here at least. Then hopefully next year we should have the house in town ready to rent out, and we can move out of there and out to here where we don't have any expenses. That's the plan anyways. Got a couple more junk piles to get rid of, but all in all, it's starting to look pretty good around here. Alright, I think I'm all tuckered out. Gonna call it a day. Got most of the tire wall rocks reallocated. Kind of beefed up this bed here. I'm probably gonna do a little bit more in here later. Got some rocks in there that's gonna be on top of my Sunchokes, so those are gonna have to go. But I think I'm gonna have to probably get rid of this because it might be in the way of a cement truck coming back here to pour my pad. But looks pretty good. I got the Elderberry patch all mulched down now. I got 2 or 3 elderberries over there. And I got this one over here that's already starting to spread. Now that I got all these tires out of the way, and now with this mulch on here, really ought to beef up the soil. It's not the sunniest spot in the world. It's kind of got some shade here, but it's got a little patch of sun. So hopefully that'll be good enough. There's 2 or 3 elderberries in here. Hopefully they'll survive. I'm sure they'll come back from the roots. They kind of got mashed up today, but yeah, good 12 to 18 inches of mulch on this. It'll break down over the course of the year. hopefully I can get the guy to start dropping off more again this fall. I could use that much about every year, if not more. Just a matter of getting my buddy Mel out here on the tractor to help me spread it around. But I think it's coming along good. Next project is going to be planting fruit trees and working on the tiny house. I'm going to get the driveway put in. I think our driveway is good all the way through here because I really beefed this up with rocks just like this over and over the course of the years. And it's firmed up enough to where we don't get stuck through here. But I've got about 300 foot of driveway I'm going to probably have to put in. Looks like the irises are all springing up. I'll be out here again in the next week or so, putting some work in. Our bamboos are all made it through the winter. Some of them got a little frost damage, but they'll still spring up. Of course, we got our bunch of onions survived and a bunch of garlic going. So now it's just a matter of spreading some more seed balls and praying to God that everything survives and spreads and sets seed and fruit and flower and becomes beautiful out here. This here is an existing bed of wild garlic. All this. And we planted some daffodils and grape hyacinths. The daffodils haven't quite sprung out yet, but the grape hyacinths have. We got 2 more bags of last year's seed that we made into seed balls, and I'm just gonna throw these out all over the place. Some of them, the seeds aren't quite even in balls, but it'll be better than letting them go to waste. Here at the front, we've got the first signs of spring. Dandelions blooming by our swale experiment bed right here. There's some kind of flowers coming up over here. Those must be some type of lilies or something, I'm not sure. Apparently we got some bindweed growing through here in the morning glory family. That's just growing wild. It's fine with me though. Here's our hugelkultur mound. This has got our Jerusalem artichokes all through it, and it's the soil, the spoils from digging this swale here, were laid out on top of a bunch of logs, and just from the looks of it, I mean, it's got a lush green covering on the outside. Seems to be breaking down all right. Here's some of the Jerusalem artichokes growing in here. Let's see if we got any tubers in here. There surely is some. Here's one. Sunchoke. Nice, and that's actually a pretty good sized one. Just growing here in really rocky soil. Here's some sunchokes, Jerusalem artichokes, that I just dug up here by hand real quick. That's actually a really good sized one. They're usually pretty skinny little fruits. Or tubers, I mean. But these are all pretty chunky. And this isn't even the ones that are growing in the Mulch Pit. We'll go check those. Here's Mulch Pit number 1. The very first and the oldest one on the farm here. It's planted to sunchokes all through here. In fact, I gotta get some of those rocks moved because there's some under there too. As soon as you spread needs some new mulch on here. The mulch is actually broken down quite a bit. As soon as you break the surface. Oh yeah, that's a good one. Soil isn't very deep, but the top like 3 or 4 inches are just rich and loamy. Really great texture. I mean, almost like potting soil in its consistency. Let's see. There should be more chokes all through here. I wonder if they're deeper. Yeah, once you get down to the soil itself, it gets kind of hard. But there's just a tiny one. We'll leave that in the ground. But the topsoil, and that's what's important, the very top couple inches of soil, That's where the plants grow. It's in great condition. Just another. Ooh, it's an acorn. Huh. Let's see more sunchokes. Here we go. These are all good, nice big ones. Over here we've got some domestic garlic that I just planted cloves through here. It's starting to get established well. And it's apparently all in little patches all through here. Some over there. Here we have some different lilies, it looks like. These haven't bloomed yet, but they sure look healthy. Here's the one bamboo that I thought I killed by putting too heavy of a nitrogen-rich compost on it. Burned it up. But it actually had a shoot coming up over here, so it should still be alive in there and spring up again this year. Some more lilies. I guess these would be Asiatic lilies. They're starting to spread. Need to come through here with the machete and clean all this up for this year. Then we come to the inner bamboo beds. Here's some good looking irises. They should flower this year. The elderberries are all leafing out right now. That's good. I'm really excited. I'm hoping these elderberries will spread because I've also got some that grow over there, and I'm going to plant some more this year in here. Try to fill this in and just make an elderberry thicket. Yeah. These are all growing out. Spreading. Here's some that are springing up right from the ground on the outside of the bed. Looks like we've got irises growing here. Garlic growing here. These are some mighty big looking onions. These are all planted from green onions that we got back when we were doing the produce barrels. They're probably second year now. Hopefully these bamboo patches really spread and thicken out this year. They should. Everything's on track. We got more onions growing through here. There's some garlic growing there. More onions. Here, and here's our elderberry. Another elderberry. This one looks like it's going to do better this year. They were planted at the same time. That one and this one over here, but this one's taking a little bit longer to fill in. I don't know why. Here we've got a real big garlic patch. This was actually, we took a bunch of the little bulblets that grew up on one of the flowering heads, and or a few of the flowering heads, and just raked back the mulch in here and spread them all out in there. So that's actually going to be a thick garlic patch. In fact, we could take these and spread them out all across the farm wherever we wanted to grow a field of garlic. But I think we'll just leave these here to get established. Here we've got some more onions. It look like they should be flowering this year. It looks like our peach trees have begun to blossom this year. Seems like last year they had more blossoms on them, but they got a late frost and dropped off. So hopefully this year we'll see some fruit set. We've about got this area cleaned up. I just got one more little pile of scrap that I gotta let go of or figure out what to do with. And here's another one of our flower beds. Here's a bed of garlic all through here. So that's nice and good spread. And we've got forsythia bushes flowering this again for the second year. They should really begin to expand now. We've got some irises mixed in there. Flower beds are really turning out to be quite a success. Really filling in. We just keep adding to them every year, and the amount of beauty and diversity just continues to increase. It's a beautiful cycle to watch. Here we are at the back of the forsythia beds, and some of the irises that we planted last year are springing forth. In fact, we came through here with a big batch of irises and planted around these trees on this side further expanding our flower beds. And as you can see, I've got a big mess zone to clean up here. But I'm just pecking away at it little by little, getting it all cleaned up and turned into a respectable farm. Here's another of my failed experiments. I thought moss would grow on these fabric swatches when I put them up there, but now it's just an unsightly mess. So that tree's probably gonna have to come down. Here we go. I don't think all the irises have sprung back up just yet. I'm convinced that there's still some underground that haven't shown themselves yet, because it seems like they were thicker last year. We've got another flower bed beginning to form around this tree with some irises going. These should all be different colors. I tried to really mix it up. I'm excited to see the iris bloom this year because we had such a good one last year and we planted more since then. Here's a nice new bed that we've got established from last year. These are all daffodils. They're starting to bloom. I believe these came from that old farmhouse in town. But now's the time of year for us to get some more daffodils, so that's kind of what we're up here getting the inspiration for. Here we've got some beautiful and interesting things going on. My forest trimming kind of stopped right in here, so all this has yet to be thinned out. But the zone of enrichment is kind of expanding that away. We've got some onion plantings that we did a couple years ago. Actually, that might have been last year. Here we've got some type of flower, maybe a leek. Yeah, that's of the onion family, so that's probably a leek. That's pretty cool. We got some mullein growing here, wild. Here's one of our onion plantings. So I'm hoping that these, when they flower, will just scatter their seeds and become established. That's kind of my goal with all of the seeds that I'm throwing out here, is that the plants that I'm establishing will become self-sowing and continue to come back year after year, more like a perennial. And all I'll have to do is continue to collect the seeds and spread them out, but that once they become established, I'll have to really just harvest and let them go. Make sure they have mulch every year. Here's another onion planting. Doing quite well. Bamboo. This looks like a yellow stem bamboo, or that's definitely yellow stem. We'll see. Most of these I'm going to have to learn to identify. Here are our nursery beds. Hoping for the walnuts to spring up in this one. And we've got our stone fruits in this one. Here's something that sprung up last year. We don't know yet. Peach, nectarine, apricot, cherry, could be any of them. It looks like the deer have already topped it off. That's alright. Here we got a bunch of grape hyacinths coming up, and daffodils and irises back here by the tiny house. These ones are getting ready to bloom. Here in this tree we've got our Daffodil Patch from last year coming up. Back a little closer to the pond, we've got two bamboos that survived in this little area. It's a nice little clearing.